When Jurassic Park premiered in theaters in 1993, it started a revolution about what films can be about in terms of originality and depth, but also what they can no longer be about in terms of realism and special effects. Out of the three original films, the first was received the best in terms of discussions of plot and story, with the most iconic relating to it. Not with the 2015 reboot series or films made after the original trio. Jurassic Park helped to inspire a whole new generation of archaeology professionals, the good. Before the original film was released, there were actually some aspects of concern within the United States that the field of archaeology might actually have a slight lack of experienced workers in the field. Even through the 1980s and right before the film being released, there were new discoveries and breakthroughs within the profession. However, this was not exactly enough to bring attention to conservation, discovery, and education through historical means. Continuing with how things were before the film was released, there had never really been anything in terms of a film to promote archaeology. But that changed soon after the release. News reports of the time signaled the explosion of interest internationally within the field, and due to the film, workers now within the field during the Jurassic World reboot in 2015, looking back on the original film from 1993, comment that it was a major influencing factor for them to enter the field of conservation and education, and being that of an archaeologist. With the record amounts of people within the field, globally, countless locations of historical importance were saved, and educational awareness for the masses did many great things for archaeology in general. Historical misconceptions and inaccuracies about dinosaurs were reinforced. The bad. However, once the film was released, paleontologists interviewed about their thoughts relating to the movie mentioned that due to Hollywood's spin on dinosaurs with the facts about them and Michael Crichton's book, plenty of historical details that were untrue yet highly persisted were reinforced internationally. Various dinosaurs from different geological periods were grouped together for the park, and though discrete references in the film mentioned that they were from separate areas, the general consensus among the viewing public were that all of these creatures existed at the same time in prehistory. The scenes with the Alamalosaurus, Triceratops, Gallimimus, Parasaurolophus, Velociraptors, and Tyrannosaurus, which were pivotal moments of the film, actually hailed from the Cretaceous period of prehistory. Paleontologists actually commented publicly that the film should have been called the Cretaceous Park due to the amount of dinosaurs featured from that era. For informational reasons, some of the few dinosaurs from the Jurassic period seen in the original film were the Dilophosaurus and Brachiosaurus. The controversy claims were so persistent about dinosaurs being from the wrong period for the park in the original film, producers actually had studio officials contact archaeologists on suggestions for dinosaurs from the Jurassic period to be selected for more future films, which would later be done with the 2015 reboot and after films. Paleontologists also mentioned that the film glamorized the field of conservation as intensive and action-packed. Scenes like Alan within the movie suggested, when in fact it's not exactly or always like that. Sometimes years can be spent looking for grants from national governments or organizations or benefactors to fund research for whatever might be needed or wanted in terms of awareness. Sometimes the most important people in the field are those who are never named or credited, not like the so-called professionals who are highly represented and acknowledged during the film. The West African bullfrog plot mechanism, which was arguably the most important story reference of the entire film, in response of all the dinosaurs being female and changing gender in a single-sex environment as mentioned by Malcolm. Scientists of all fields discussed the probability of such an occurrence in real life, and many mentioned that it was not exactly possible to have creatures of such sizes as dinosaurs being able to change their physiology both on a genetic and physical level to replicate reproductive organs. Smaller creatures such as frogs, yes, as it's not much of an effort in terms of hormone secretion and skeletal bone structure. But for gigantic creatures such as those presented in the film, meant that it's not possible due to the sheer daunting task and amount of change needed within a creature's body of that size. Jurassic Park was groundbreaking in terms of special effects. The good. In terms of a blockbuster film, Jurassic Park was one of the first to use modern special effects within the film for various purposes or intentions, from dinosaurs to stunts to scenery and to portrayal of story to express the plot to the audience. In 1993, computers were then just starting to be used for what would later become an industry standard. These new procedures and visual expressions were called computer graphic imagery, CGI, and the combination of these new methods and existing animatronics blended very well together, which is why the film aged very well when re-watched by future generations of audiences who had watched the 2015 reboot but were not even alive when the original film was released in the early 1990s. The decline of animatronics. The bad. Again, due to computers started to be used as a medium for entertainment and a visual reference of what can and cannot be done with conventional props and display, CGI became the Hollywood standard on what can be done in terms and scope of a film. Computer graphics actually accelerated the production time of the film, and due in part because of the CGI, the recording of the film ended 12 days earlier than scheduled for. Because traditionally, animatronics took up space on a set or at a location, the premise of computers helped to eliminate space so more location can be used naturally for the film. But what was later discovered is that animatronics had a whole host of workers to operate the limbs and joints of the puppet. A computer can do the work that an entire team of puppeteers or professionals can do now, and this led, sadly, to the loss of work within the industry and profession. That personalized touch that animatronics can give a film would later be mentioned within the fact that modern CGI can be overly fake, unimpressive, and unrealistic. Some criticism from later Jurassic Park films mention that these very facts first noticed in the 1993 film. With so much edited graphics on screen, it might look flashy and futuristic, but does it look real? Does it look impressive? Not exactly. Can that help to keep your interest throughout the film? Depends on the people, and because of the lack of animatronics, this is much easier to spot and notice. These were some of the most important aspects relating to the film and how it helped to change modern American film.